Today, our job is to look closely at one specific stage, round 2. This is where things get really serious.
Right, we're jumping right into the thick of it today. We're focusing on one particular group, a really competitive one, full of albums that made it through the first cut. This is round 2, group 10, and it's got this dramatic title, Tenacious Tears for Pink as She Fears the Lexicon of Love.
Haha, yeah, quite the title. It definitely hints at the mix we've got here.
It does, and like you said, these aren't just any albums pulled out of a hat. They've all fought their way past, what, like 99% of the initial collection in round 1?
Exactly. So today is about finding out which two have got the goods, the structure, the concept, the sound to make it through to round 3.
Okay, so let's meet the contenders for group 10. First up, we have Funhouse by Pink.
Yep.
Then Tenacious D by, Tenacious D.
The D.
The Lexicon of Love by ABC.
Classic.
And wrapping it up, The Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears.
That's a fascinating lineup. You've got modern pop rock, iconic 80s concept stuff, comedy rock, and then just, this incredibly produced masterpiece. The tension's definitely there. And the rules for getting through, brutal.
Okay, let's talk about those rules. Before we get into who won and who lost, we need to really understand how this album quest works. For you listening, it's important to get just how tough this process is.
Right. So the basic structure, it's borrowed from the Football World Cup, like you mentioned. Albums get put into groups of 4, randomly, and they compete directly.
But listening isn't just putting them on in the background. No, the albums get played back-to-back multiple times, and then they're ranked 1st through 4th.
And crucially, only the top 2 move on. That's the killer part. And because these albums already won their round 1 groups, or came very close, the standard in round 2 is it's way higher. Even a tiny weakness, maybe in how the songs fit together, can get an album kicked out.
That's the big difference now, isn't it? We're past the point where just having, 3 massive hit singles guarantees anything.
Absolutely. Which brings us straight to the core idea that decides everything at this stage. What does greatness actually mean when we're talking about a whole album sequence and all?
In Green Strokes, the creator, they really zero in on one main thing, flow. Let's unpack that a bit. The argument is, and the results seem to back this up, that a truly great album isn't just, say, 10 brilliant songs stuck together.
No way. If those songs don't link up properly, if they don't sort of talk to each other or build a consistent mood, then the album itself is flawed, fundamentally.
Yeah. And to make this concrete for you, the source material actually details how the listening happens in these later rounds. It's intense, not just one listen. The creator listens through 4 separate times, each time focusing on something different.
Yeah, it's like first listen is just for the immediate vibe, the atmosphere, is it consistent? Second time, they're only listening to the sequencing, how do the tracks transition, do they jar?
Third listen pulls back to individual song quality, do they stand up on their own?
And the fourth, final, critical listen. How impactful is that first track? Does it set the scene right? And the last track, does it feel like a proper ending, a real conclusion?
That kind of intense focus is why an album like Pink's Funhouse, which we'll get to, might struggle, while something like The Seeds of Love can really shine. It gets super specific. How do the songs mix? Is the mood consistent? Does that opener grab you in the right way for the journey ahead? Does the closer wrap things up satisfyingly?
Exactly. It's like, think of a fancy meal. The album quest judge wants perfect pacing. You need the palate cleansers between courses. The build-up has to work. If a song feels stuck in the wrong place or just breaks the mood for no reason, it gets marked down. Doesn't matter if that song was a huge hit.
Right. So if you stack all the big singles at the start and the rest feels like B-sides, fails the flow test?
Yep. Or if it jumps wildly between, heavy rock and quiet acoustic stuff without any smooth transition, fails the flow test.
So this focus on atmosphere and sequencing, it really pushes this beyond just rating songs. And it gives you, the listener, a really interesting way to think about albums critically.
Okay, now we know the rules are razor sharp. Let's look at how these 4 albums even got here. Just being in round 2 tells you they've already shown some serious strength against hundreds of others.
Let's set the scene. Where do they start? Tears for Fears, The Seeds of Love. They actually came second in their first group, round 1, group 22.
Right, they finished just behind The Darkness, Permission to Land, which is a really solid, cohesive rock album itself. But the interesting part is who Tears for Fears beat to get through.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, Seeds of Love had to knock out some commercial heavyweights. We're talking Limp Bizkit's Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water, and Evanescence's The Open Door.
Wow, okay. big sellers.
Huge. And the notes say that while those albums obviously had massive singles, they just didn't have the same kind of consistent depth or that subtle flow that the Tears for Fears record has. So Seeds of Love proved its maturity early on.
Interesting. Okay, next up, the 80s giant, ABC's The Lexicon of Love. Now, this one didn't just scrape through, it won its group, round one, group 88, comfortably.
Yeah, first place. And that's a big deal in this quest. ABC beat Roxette's Tourism, Dido's No Angel, and maybe most impressively, Regatta de Blanc by the Police.
Beating Regatta de Blanc, that's huge. That Police album is often talked about for its structure, its rhythms.
Exactly. So for a, quite sophisticated 80s pop concept album to come out on top of a classic, really well-structured Police record, that tells you straight away Lexicon of Love has this incredible internal consistency and polish. It's rare.
Okay, massive shift now. Comedy rock. Tenacious D's debut album, they also topped their group. First place in round one, group 182.
Which is kind of amazing and pretty funny when you see who they beat.
Go on.
The Ghostbusters soundtrack, okay? Alien, Ant Farm's third draft. All right. But also, we are Motorhead by Motorhead.
Wait, Tenacious D beat Motorhead?
According to the Quest results, yes. And it highlights something interesting about this whole process. Sometimes a relentlessly consistent style, like Motorhead's awesome rock power, might actually be seen as having less dynamic flow than something that mixes things up, like the D's skits and songs, if that mix is done well.
So the theatrical sort of Spinal Tap thing they do, it was cohesive enough in round one.
Apparently so. It worked as a single funny piece.
Right. And finally, Pink with Funhouse. She also came in first. Round one, group 122. Beat some pretty serious competition, too.
Yeah, she knocked out The Killer's Day and Age, Duffy's Rock Fairy, and Oasis's Dig Out Your Soul.
Taking first place over The Killers and Oasis, bands known for big, cohesive sounds. That suggests Funhouse started out strong, with real artistic weight.
Definitely. So here we are in Group 10. 4 albums, all were top dogs or very nearly top dogs in round 1. Which means the judgment in round 2 isn't just tough, it's like microscopic analysis. We're not looking for bad albums here. We're looking for the tiniest crack in the structure, the slightest hiccup in the flow. That's what decides elimination now.
Okay, this is where it gets ruthless, as the notes say. Despite winning before, 2 of these strong albums have to go.
Yeah.
Let's start with the one that had the biggest fall from grace first place in round 1, crashing down to 4th place here in round 2.
Yeah, that unfortunate spot goes to Pink's Funhouse. And it's a really stark example of how much higher the bar gets in round 2. The main criticism, according to the notes, wasn't about the songs themselves lacking quality. It was about them not gelling. They just didn't work together as a single piece.
Okay, hang on. I mean, the songs are good, really well-made pop and rock. And so what is just, it's an anthem. Are we saying that just because some slower songs come after that massive opener, the whole album gets booted? Isn't that kind of normal pacing? Big start, then catch your breath.
That's a fair point. And yeah, there's always subjectivity in judging flow. But the argument here is that good pacing needs dynamic contrast, clever transitions. Funhouse, the analysis says, didn't just slow down. It kind of lost its way thematically right after the start. It became structurally wobbly. The creator saw it as this weird 3-part beast, and that choppy structure cost it dearly.
A 3-part beast. Okay, let's break that down because the notes are pretty specific. Part 1 starts amazing. That huge attitude of, so what? But then bang, the energy just drops off a cliff with like half a dozen slow ballads right after.
And the issue isn't that the ballads are bad. Pink's vocals are great. The writing is delicate. The problem is they all sound kind of the same. Similar tempos, similar feel. When you listen critically, back to back, they become hard to tell apart. They don't leave their own mark. So that amazing energy from, so what? Gone. The listener kind of drifts off.
Right. Then, like a sudden gear change, you hit part 2, the middle bit, which is suddenly all fun, upbeat pop again. Songs like Bad Influence, the title track Funhouse, super catchy stuff.
But they feel disconnected, don't they? Coming after that long stretch of ballads, it feels less like a natural progression and more like, oh yeah, here are the singles we need to put somewhere.
And then the killer blow, part 3.
Yeah.
It just goes back to the same issue again.
Pretty much. The final third is mostly more slow ballads that, again, are pleasant enough. It's all your fault. I don't believe you. Please don't leave me. But they repeat the mistake from the first part. They feel like filler, not building towards any kind of powerful conclusion.
So the structure just didn't hold up. It's like, the songs are great bricks, but the mortar wasn't right. The lack of flow between those ballad sections just tanked the whole thing. The notes say Pink took the fun out of the house with that sequencing. Ouch.
Harsh, but that's the level we're at. Okay. Moving to third place. This was apparently a much closer call. Tenacious D just missed out on qualifying. Really shows how tight the margins were here.
Yeah, you can't deny how entertaining this album is. The notes totally get that. It's like listening to two hilarious guys doing rude skits that just happen to be wrapped in rock songs. The lyrics are funny. Parts of the music are genuinely inspired. They mentioned the Lee song specifically. It's a proper rock-out album. Definitely got that Spinal Tap feel.
Absolutely. But the challenge for a comedy album in this kind of structural contest is, does it hold up as an album, as a complete artistic statement? The main weakness flagged here is this feeling of half-finishedness.
Half-finishedness. Yeah, I can see that. Translating skit comedy to this format is tricky. A lot of the tracks are really short, right? Little 2-minute bits.
Exactly. And while that totally works for the comedy, you don't need a 10-minute epic about, a guitar pick when the competition is judging albums on their completeness, their structural depth. Those short throwaway bits start to count against it.
So the albums that win tend to have these fully developed songs, 3, 4, 5 minutes long, that go somewhere musically.
Generally, yeah. Tenacious D, by its very nature, breaks that rule a lot. And while the flow of the skits and songs together is super entertaining, compared to the fully fleshed out musical journeys of the two albums that did qualify, it just felt less substantial. Top-tier entertainment, yes. But musically, in this specific competition, it came up a bit short.
Okay, so Pink lost out on sequencing and songs blending together too much. Tenacious D lost out because it felt structurally incomplete, more comedy than deep musical construction. Which leads us to the two albums that got through by nailing cohesion and production.
Right, the survivors of Group 10. They're off to round 3 because they showed that having a strong theme, detailed production, and real musical ambition, that's what gets you through this tough stage.
And grabbing that second qualifying spot, just edging out Tenacious D, was ABC's 1982 classic, The Lexicon of Love. This isn't just pop. It's like a textbook example of how to do a concept album that's also incredibly catchy and sophisticated.
Definitely. And a big part of that is the sound, that polished early 80s vibe.
Yeah.
It was produced by Trevor Horn.
Okay. Well, legend.
Total legend. The Bugles, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, he treated this record like making a movie, not just cutting pop songs. Loads of detail, layering.
I can hear that cinematic thing. It sounds so bright.
Yeah.
Martin Fry's vocals are really high and clear, and the arrangements underneath are complex. Real strings, apparently, not just synths, plus glockenspiels, intricate synth lines. This sounds luxurious.
And that sound fits the concept like a glove. ABC did something really difficult here. They mixed genuinely catchy, irresistible pop with a proper concept album structure. The theme is basically looking back at a failed relationship, all the pain and cynicism hidden under this glamorous surface.
Right. That thematic strength is what pushed it past Tenacious D, which didn't really have that kind of overarching artistic plan.
And the lyrics play into that duality, too. You've got these amazing pop hits, All of My Heart, Poison Arrow, The Look of Love, obviously, but the words are often quite dark or cutting. Poison Arrow sounds upbeat, but it's actually mocking someone for messing up their love life. The whole album is this sort of beautiful, sad look at vanity and heartbreak.
And the sequencing tells that story.
Yeah, the flow comes from the emotional journey. From realizing it's over, through the bitterness, to maybe some kind of wistful ending. It's just a really well-put-together, solid album. That mix of concept, catchy songs, and top-tier production got it through. Good result.
Okay, now for the undisputed winner of this group. First place, clear champion. The Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears. This wasn't just a qualifier. It was described as a giant among these albums.
Oh, absolutely. If Lexicon of Love was a masterclass in 80s pop production, Seeds of Love is, well, it's an audiophile's dream. And just a massive statement of musical ambition. Came out in 89, much more complex, took them ages to make, cost a fortune.
And you can hear that investment, right? The detail, the nuance.
Totally. And while it's maybe not a strict story-based concept album like ABC's, it's deeply conceptual. These recurring themes, social issues, personal growth, spiritual searching, they run through everything, tying it all together. The flow feels inevitable.
And the vocals. The notes mention Oleta Adams.
Yes, her introduction on this album is huge, that incredible gospel voice, especially on Woman in Chains. But the notes also say Roland Orzabal's own vocals are just stunning on this record, too. Really emotional, technically brilliant. It's a vocal powerhouse, full stop.
So how did it actually win? Let's look at the opening track, Woman in Chains. This is interesting compared to Pink's So What. Pink went for instant energy, Tears for Fears. They start slow, really slow.
Yeah, at a crawl, the notes say. It's subtle, it builds, it almost makes you wait for it.
But that's effective in this quest.
Exactly. Because it sets a mood, it promises depth and complexity, it gets under your skin slowly, builds with all these layers, and then reaches this really powerful, hopeful ending with that "So Free Her" chant. It proves an opener doesn't have to be a punch in the face if it establishes an atmosphere that the rest of the album delivers on. That's arguably better for flow than one big hit followed by confusion.
Okay. And the sheer musical range on this record is key too, right? It's not like their earlier stuff.
Not at all. It's wildly creative and daring. They pull from everywhere. The title track, Seeds of Love, is basically them doing a perfect Beatles, Nona Dot Pepper kind of thing, psychedelic, layered.
Right.
Then you jump to Badman's Song, which is this massive, nearly 8-minute jazz epic with blues, gospel. Totally unexpected from a band known for synth pop.
And the notes mention Floyd-esque durations and subtlety.
Yeah, they're not afraid of long instrumental sections, big dynamic shifts, creating atmosphere, that level of ambition, pulling off all these different styles, but making it sound coherent because the production is so good. None of the others in this group could really touch that.
The lyrics, too, apparently very poetic.
Very. Not your standard pop lyrics. Swords and Knives is mentioned musically complex, and the lyrics are dense with metaphor. That line they quote, "It starts with needles and pins and ends with swords and knives," that really captures how the album layers deep feeling into these grand musical landscapes.
In managing the quieter moments. Standing on the corner of the third world?
Yeah, that track is musically quite relaxing, almost meditative. But the lyrics give you this big picture, thought-provoking view on global inequality. So even the quiet moments have weight and purpose within the album's flow.
Then it builds again towards the end.
It does. You get the rockier Year of the Knife near the end, gives it a final burst of energy, but then it flows perfectly into the closer, famous last words, which isn't just fading out. It's described as this beautifully refined, almost orchestral finish, a real conclusion, the complete opposite of the way Funhouse was perceived to just peter out.
And the final piece? The production. Just flawless.
Pretty much. The mix, the sound quality. The source calls it frictionless, meaning the whole journey, track 1 to 8, is just seamless, smooth, incredibly high fidelity. That technical perfection sealed the deal. Clear number 1.
Wow. Okay, let's recap the final scores for round 2, group 10 then.
All right, the official results are, in first place, qualifying for round 3, The Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears.
Yeah.
In second place, also qualifying, The Lexicon of Love by ABC.
Got it.
Then, eliminated in third place, Tenacious D by Tenacious D.
And I'll look you for the D.
And eliminated in fourth place, Funhouse by Pink.
So, looking at these 4, what are the big takeaways? What does this group teach us about what it takes to win in this album quest?
Well, a few things become really clear. First, like we saw with Pink, just having amazing individual songs, even massive hits, isn't enough. Flow is king. If the songs don't transition well, or if sections feel too similar and blend together, the album structure fails. Sequencing is critical.
Right. And with Tenacious D, we learned that pure entertainment and laughs are great, but the album has to feel complete, fully formed as a piece of music. Short skits and half-finished song ideas, even if they fit the comedy, don't have the structural weight needed for these later rounds.
Exactly. And then the winners showed us the flip side. ABC proved that a strong, well-executed concept can provide that essential cohesion. And Tears for Fears just blew the competition away with sheer musical daring, incredible production, and that deep poetic nuance, all perfectly sequenced. Those are the elements that survive this level of scrutiny.
So understanding these details, this focus on flow, structure, concept, production, it gives you, the listener, a different way to appreciate albums, doesn't it? It's not just, do I like the songs? It's, does this whole thing work as a journey? Does it flow? Does it feel complete? That's the heart of the album quest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huge congratulations then to Tears for Fears and ABC. They move on to the intensity of round 3. Commiserations to Pink and Tenacious D. Great albums, but the quest moves on.